So during the presentation, it's about a 2-hour presentation that I condensed to about half an hour.
The vast majority of the countless interactions police officers have with the public are peaceful and end without incident. On a community outreach day last August, San Diego police officer and use of force expert Ken Kreese spent time talking about the positive encounters. But he also talked about when things get confrontational and people blame police.
If you just did what I told you to do, we wouldn't have any issues. I won't be wearing anything on my belt. Everyone agree? What's happened to our society? What's happened to our society? The one that I grew up in, man, my dad told me to do something, I better do it.
Kreese goes on to make several comments like this during the presentation.
Right? Put your hands on the steering wheel because officers want to see your hands. You don't start digging under your seat. Hang on, officer. Right?
His point seems to be that if people didn't resist arrest, police wouldn't have to use force.
What happened? When did these officers become the suspect and the suspect became the victim? When did that happen? When did these officers become the suspect and the suspect became the victim? When did that happen?
That put fear in my heart for my sons. What happened to our society? Does he understand that people have had different historical, how we've been dealt with in this country has been different? Does he understand that everyone has not had the same experience as a white male growing up in the United States?
Layla Aziz wasn't at the event, but we showed her the video. The community activist from Southeast San Diego says the attitude Kreese is displaying is a big reason why there is so much fear and mistrust of police in the neighborhood she serves.
Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter!
With massive protests against police violence on people of color, local law enforcement agencies are vowing reform. Departments across the county have agreed to end the use of the chokehold and are requiring at least 4 hours of de-escalation training to comply with a new state law. But District Attorney Summer Steffens says only 700 officers of 5,000 countywide have been trained so far. Aziz and others welcome the de-escalation training, but say it isn't enough. They want departments to completely overhaul how officers are hired and trained. And so far, that isn't on the table.
So ideally, we always try to test people's compliance verbally.
Here's Sergeant Michael Bell's last August. He's the in-service training manager at the San Diego Police Academy and was explaining the department's use of force procedures.
If they are punching at me or striking me or kicking me, I may respond in a similar fashion, or if they're assaulting, I may even go up to the level of a baton to overcome that resistance.
We asked what limits police officers might have on how much force they can use.
So we don't normally put limits on the type of force or the number of times someone will be struck because it's all based on the suspect's resistance.
Police officers are used to literally barking out commands and having people follow the directions.
Philip Stinson studied policing across the country and says officers have to change how they interact with people on the street.
If simply the police officers would take the opportunity to step back and explain why they're taking actions, why they're doing what they're doing, and why it's necessary to do so, I think you'll find that people generally are more compliant than if officers are simply barking out commands at people.
They right here, though.
Hey, bro, you can't do that.
Body cam and cell phone videos increased criticism of police.
All you're going to see is about 100 videos this year of what? Officers on top of somebody, hitting somebody, and then they play it like we do that 99% of the time.
The videos frustrate Kreese and other officers because they represent a tiny fraction of their day-to-day actions.
Mine never made the news when a guy tried to draw a gun on me and shoot me and my partner. And when I asked him off the record, were you going to try to kill me? He looked at me and put his head down, refused to answer. He answered the question, didn't he? That never made the news. You know, that happens quite often.
We have to work hard to get rid of the ones that are causing the problem.
Assemblywoman Shirley Weber has helped bring about different types of police reform, including the requirement that all officers have de-escalation training. But she says this is a small part of a large culture shift that is needed.
If you eliminate those one or two, then you start changing people's perception of behavior. That's number one. And then if you start as a part of your recruitment to bring in different kinds of officers from the beginning and give them the support they need to change the culture, then you at least begin the process. And it may not be as long as we think.
Tomorrow, we'll look at a California police department that has made de-escalation central to its mission. Claire Trageser, KPBS News.